First of all, congratulations to the Portland Timbers as they are now the champion of the MLSisback tournament after winning 2-1 against Orlando City in the MLSisback tournament final. And that, second of all, set piece was the difference in this game. And I definitely didn't think that that was going to be the difference in this game, considering the fact that Orlando City coming into this game, they have not conceded a set piece goal. And in this game, they concede 2 set piece goals that would ultimately lead to the demise of them not winning this final. Now, in the first half, and the first thing I actually wrote was, unsurprisingly, the kickoff happened after 20 minutes after the advertised kickoff, and I was foolish enough to believe the fact that this game was going to kick off either on time or literally 10 minutes after the advertised kickoff is going to happen, because this is a big game. This is a national televised game on ESPN, and usually when you have those two added in terms of the ingredients, that means it's usually going to be delayed 15 to 20 minutes, and that this game actually didn't kick off until 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, when it eventually did kick off in this MLSisback tournament final, I thought the first 10 minutes, Orlando City had all the possession while the Timbers was sitting in a very deep block, and I understand that the Timbers, this was kind of their strategy, that they're going to just sit in a deep block so that they can, of course, counter Orlando City on the defensive end. But in the 10 minute of this final, I actually checked the possession stats in terms of how many percent of possession that Orlando City had, because throughout the first 10 minutes, I don't recall one time that the Portland Timbers actually had some possession in the Orlando City half, and it turns out Orlando City had 87% possession compared to just 13% possession that the Portland Timbers had. And it just gets to some point where I was thinking, well, I understand that this is their game plan, but if you're just going to not have any possession and you're not even going to try to counterattack and trying to maybe create some chances on the transition, then that's really a definition of just getting pinned back. And getting pinned back in a final like this is definitely not the best strategy to have. And that, I feel like eventually the Timbers going to have to maybe need to open themselves a little bit more than what they look like they're doing. Because what they look like they were doing is that they were the underdog team coming into this, and they just sit in a low block, or a team that is leading late in the game and they're just sitting in a deep block to pretty much seal out the game. Now, the good news is for the Timbers is that despite the fact that they didn't really had a lot of chance and didn't really get to a great start, so did Orlando City, who, despite all that possession, they didn't really create any chances whatsoever. In fact, it took 15 minutes for the first shot to be happen in the game, and the first shot was just a block shot that Mueller trying to put on goal, but it was blocked off of one of the Timber defender. And then in the 17th minute, we did have a bit of a scary instant when Abobasi went down with a head injury after Galese caught him in the head while punching the ball away. And this is kind of the unfortunate incident in this game, where when you're a goalkeeper that is trying to rush out to punch the ball away, and the opposition striker are trying to hit that ball before the goalkeeper punch it in, you're going to have cases where both of them are going to be there at around the same time, and it's either the goalkeeper is going to get injured with the attacker accidentally bump into them, or in this case, the goalkeeper punched the ball away, but as he punched that ball away, he accidentally connect into the attacker's head. And it's unfortunate the fact that Abobasi was on the wrong end of that receiving part, but the good news of that is that he would actually remain in the game, and that even though he kind of looked a little bit drowsy for the first couple of minutes, as I said, he'll remain in this game for the rest of the way. And before people are saying, how is that not a foul on Galese? No, that's not going to be a foul on Galese when he clearly got to the ball first. And when you got to the ball first off of a punch, even if you connect an attacker, whether it's in the head or in any other body part, that is never going to be a foul, as rough as that is going to be the case. Now, in the 26th minute, we saw our first goal of the game, and it would be Mabiola that scored from Diego Valeri, and that was the first set piece that was conceded by Orlando in this game and in this tournament alone. And I was kind of surprised the fact that that was the time when we finally saw our first goal, because for the first 20 minutes or so, I definitely didn't think we were going to get an opening goal, and that both teams were being a little bit kind of cagey, and that they really didn't want to concede the first goal, and that I didn't think the game would really start to open up until the second half. But it seemed like that first goal finally did came in the 26th minute, and then after that, the Timbers kind of started to sit in a deep block, and this is when I started to have some concern with Orlando City, because as I said back in the preview, whoever scored the first goal of this game is going to be the team that's going to try to sit back and try to absorb pressure while the opposition is trying to chase the game. Well, because of the fact that Timbers got the first goal, they are able to have that luxury to go into their usual deep block shape. And Orlando City, with the way that they really struggled trying to break down this Timbers deep block, I thought they were going to be in deep trouble for the rest of the game. Now, there was an interesting incident happened during the hydration break when a couple of the Timbers players decided to come near the Orlando City touchline, and they were kind of exchanging words with Orlando City head coach Oscar Pereira, and I have a feeling they weren't really just exchanging words saying that, what are you going to do when you win this tournament? Or what are you going to do after this tournament is going to be over? Are you going to have a mini holiday after this tournament is over? Or are you going to go to Disneyland for a quick trip before heading back to your city? I mean, I have a feeling it was a very heated exchange, but thankfully cooler heads prevail, and both teams just kind of go into their huddle to discuss what they're going to do for the last 15 minutes in terms of the tactical standpoints. Then in the 39th minute, Orlando City equalized, and it would be Pereira that scores to tie the game up. I believe that's his first career MLS goal. I might be wrong, but if it is, what a time to score your first career MLS goal in a cup final like this. And just like what I said about the Timbers when they scored the goal, and I wasn't really expecting that to happen, I wasn't expecting Orlando City to get the equalizer, especially this quickly into the game after they conceded that goal 13 minutes earlier, because again, Orlando City had a lot of trouble breaking down this Timbers back line, and yet somehow in some way they were able to find a way to break them down, and the game were all tied up at 1 apiece. Although right after when Pereira scored that goal, I thought the Timbers responded well, and they actually had some decent chances to potentially retake the lead at halftime of this tournament, but instead we head to halftime at a 1-1 score, and it was all to play for heading into the second half. Now in the second half, first 15 minutes was pretty much similar to the first 15 minutes of this game. Sloppy start from both teams, and that both team was really having tough time to get the final ball going. But eventually, the action kind of picked up right at the hour mark when Matinho might have got away with a denial of goal score opportunity after he brought Larrea down right outside the 18-yard box. Now, when I saw on the replay, it looked like there was another Timbers player in the vicinity where maybe that might be the reason why it wasn't warranting a denial of goal score opportunity. And keep in mind, since this is a cup final, referee are going to be very lenient in terms of some of these calls, and they're going to give the players the benefit of the doubt of some of the fouls that they have committed. And he also is not going to really want to show the red card to one of these players on both of these teams, because if he shows the red card, this can really change of how this final tie is going to be. And I thought at times we did have some fouls where I feel like that could have been red card if this was in a regular season, or maybe in a playoff game that is in the early rounds. But in this final, obviously, I think the referee was trying his best to not show that red card that could really change the game. And even though I know some people won't like it, and some people think that that should have definitely been a red card, I don't mind the referee decided to not do that, because I rather want a final where it finished 11v11 rather than a final that is, of course, got ruined because of a red card. I obviously have some foul memories of red cards that happen in a cup final that, of course, ruin our chance. An example of that is the FA Cup final between Chelsea and Arsenal. And if you remember that game, or if anyone, of course, watched that game, you know that Chelsea, of course, went down to 10 men after a very soft second yellow card that was handed to one of our players that I definitely didn't feel like that should have been a red card. And it just completely ruined the game, and that Arsenal basically had just kind of did enough to hang on to win that game by a final score of 2-1. And that, again, this is why referee does not, most of the time referee does not want to do that, because it just kind of ruins what a great cup final that we might have in these kind of games. Now, after that near red card that Orlando City got away with, Galese actually denied Valeri on the free kick, but then he also robbed Ibobasi from six yards out, and I think that save that Galese made on Ibobasi was even more impressive than the Valeri one, because Ibobasi was just kind of left open in the 6-yard box, and I have no idea who decided to pick him up, but thankfully Galese was able to make a good save to keep this one at 1 apiece. But unfortunately, 2 minutes later, the Timbers would eventually get the second goal, and it would be Zaparic who scored from Ibobasi. Again, poor defending from Orlando City from in the set piece, where when that ball was crossed in from the corner, why in the world was Williamson completely left open in the box? Like, that should not have happened when you are trying to defend a set piece. And that, fortunately, because of that incident, partially because of that of course eventually led to the second goal of this game, and it turns out to be the winning goal of this game. After that goal was scored, once again, Portland was sitting deep to try to seal this one out, which means it's bad news for Orlando City, because besides the goal that they scored in the 39th minute, they really have rarely unlocked this Timbers defense and have done anything to really threaten this Timbers defense. And then in the 84th minute, Juan might have got away with a red when he decided to high boot Valeri in the face. And I also wrote, this game has started to become CONCACAF level of refereeing. And again, I know that the referee are given the benefit of the doubt, and that no doubt, if this game was happening in the regular season, that is going to be a red card. But obviously the referee wants to make sure that he doesn't want to ruin what could be an exciting last 5 minutes of the game, and that's why Juan got very lucky, the fact that he got away with a red, even though that was clearly serious foul play with him just kind of high booting Valeri. This game started to become, actually I already read that. In the 89th minute, Galese would deny Valeri a chance to put the game away, before in the 3rd minute of stoppage time, Kyle Smith had a great chance to put a volley from 3 yards out and tied the game for Orlando City and set this one into a penalty kick shootout, but unfortunately he put the volley over, and that was really the last real chance that Orlando City would have, because Portland would eventually hold on in this game, and they of course would win 2-1 to crown as the champion of the MLSisback tournament. Your shots in this game, Portland had 13 shots compared to 14 that Orlando City had. And by the way, let me just put the charger here. I just found out my laptop is running out of battery, so gotta make sure I charge it so that it doesn't run out of battery before this video is done. I actually had that happen before. Once when I was recording a video, my laptop literally ran out of battery and I had to start the whole video again. But shots, as I mentioned, 13 shots compared to 14 that Orlando City had. 6 shots on goal compared to 1 that Orlando City has. 2 shots off target compared to 6 that Orlando City has. 5 shots that was blocked compared to 7 that Orlando City has. And possession-wise, 36% possession compared to 64% possession that Orlando City has. And again, congratulations to the Portland Timbers winning the title and kind of playing the style that their play was one of the reasons why it got them over the top. But obviously, I think one of the main reasons was that they were more lethal on the set piece. And for Orlando City, inexplicably in this game, they were very poor in terms of defending set piece. That was really one of the many strong points that they had throughout this tournament. And, I guess the only thing I will say about Orlando City is that, you know, they of course had a good run in this tournament, and that the fact that they got to this far, I don't think a lot of people thought that that was going to be the case, and hopefully this might be a learning experience for a lot of these players, knowing the fact that, you know, they can definitely do some good things, and that I can't wait to see how the regular season is going to play for Orlando, and whether or not if they can take this experience of making a deep run into the MLSisback tournament to transition into the regular season and potentially make their first ever MLS playoffs in their franchise history, even though technically, if you ask any Orlando City fans, they would probably say this is their first ever playoff experience. But for the true MLS playoffs kind of style and the true MLS Cup playoffs, you know, they can of course keep playing like they have to throughout this tournament and keep that momentum heading in to the regular season. They have a good chance of potentially qualifying to the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. And for the Portland Timbers, yeah, you know, this should they definitely they are happy that they won this trophy, but they got to also remember that now in a couple of weeks they need to quickly reset their minds and trying to continue to play well in the regular season and maybe be a contender in MLS Cup. I mean, we've seen it before where teams, when they win a silverware doing in the middle part of the season, they just kind of slacked off for the remaining of the season. Hopefully the Timbers won't do that and know that there is still some tougher challenge ahead of the way, but certainly winning a trophy can really gain some morale and gain some confidence heading into the regular season that they could be one of the team that could compete for MLS Cup heading into this season. But yeah, that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this video and what do you think of this tournament. Tomorrow I will do a video where I'll kind of do like my award ceremony, where I of course award what I think are the players are going to get all these awards from the MLSisback tournament. I think they have kind of already announced who of course won goalkeeper of the tournament, or the best player of the tournament and the best defender of the tournament, but I'll make my own awards heading into tomorrow and make a video out of that before the Dallas versus Nashville game that's going to be kicking off at 5:30 p.m. my time and 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.